Have you ever wondered if Hoyo devs even play their own games? No wonder people look at gacha in such a bad light. Hoyo is making us look bad with their global passive. Honkai Star Rail has been more than disappointing since the launch of Inforius, and has been speedrunning losing as much player trust as possible. Saber is really cool though. Wait! If it means anything, the Fate collab characters look great. Honkai Star Rail is unrivaled in the gacha genre when it comes to animation. Granted, it's because the character models are stationary in combat, but it's still very impressive. I do have good things to say, but the positives are heavily overshadowed by the negatives. By the way, whose idea was it to give Firefly a skin? The one character in a mech suit. Really sharp minds over there in that dev studio. But no, maybe I'm being too negative, so let's take a look at what Star Rail has been up to lately. With the release of Phanon, I thought I'd take a look back at HSR, since over the past couple of patches it's been looking worse and worse, but I still had high hopes for the Fate collab. Phanon looks incredible, of course. He's basically Madara in the HSR universe.
Whoa, this is way out of our league.
Is this the power of a god?
But HSR has a huge issue when it comes to the longevity of this game. You know it, I know it, power creep in this game is absolutely ridiculous. And no, just because Tribi and Hyacine are broken and can carry Arlen to a 0 cycle on auto, that does not fix the power creep issue. It means you'll just have to be a slave to the meta carry units to make your mid character good. Hyacine is a healer, by the way, being able to gain crit rate from her traces and thus dealing elite levels of sub DPS damage. If you like Hyacine and Tribi though, I'm sure that most of the issues that plague this game probably don't apply to you. The most frightening thing about Hyacine is that inevitably even this powerhouse will get power corrupted. Do y'all remember Acheron? I know, right? Ancient character now. You have to have short-term memory to stay sane playing this game. But let me refresh your memory. Acheron on release was easily the strongest character in this game by miles. A tier 0 character was not a good enough description for this emanator.
Emanator.
She was at least 3 tiers above the second best DPS. A lot of people consider this unit to be the start of the ridiculous power creep in the game. But if she was so far ahead of everyone that she felt like a must pull at the time, and she was really that good back in the day, then where would she be rated today? You would think she could still probably hold her own even at low investment, especially if she was so far ahead of every other DPS, right? Oh well, she's tier 1 now, by the way. Even if you don't take Pride 1 seriously, don't act like Acheron is clearing the newest endgame like these newer characters. She's nowhere near 0 cycling anymore unless you have Tribi and Hyacine. Like I always say, if you want to know who the newest characters in Star Rail are, just look at the top of the tier list. Now you might think I hate Star Rail or something like that, but the thing is, the only reason I'm so annoyed by the state of the game is because I used to play this game every day, but being free to play in the game damn near feels worse than Genshin at this point. Early constellations are insane increases in damage and or quality of life. 3 Amphorius characters in a row have felt like must pulls, and most light cones complete character kits like the infamous Acheron light cone. After all this time, for some reason I'm still giving this company the benefit of the doubt and not taking everything with a grain of salt, like how I thought that the character buffs will matter, and then they make Jingliu and Blade HP scalers to make them work with Amphorius characters. Why can't they just add something into the game without there always being some weird and unnecessary caveat that just cancels out whatever they just added? And don't get me started on how they forgot all about the light cones when it comes to these character buffs. This is what I mean when I say I don't think that these devs actually play the game, because how can you overlook something so obviously wrong? First of all, Blade's buff really only helps his E1, and second of all, you might as well use Maide's light cone on Blade 2, because that's actually a pretty good upgrade over his own. You're still in a way being gaslit into pulling Amphorius characters, even if you just want to use your Blade. Isn't that awesome? And don't think about going all in on Blade, because his Eidolons are actually pretty mid. But you know what you can do? Pull Tribi's E1, of course, because that's a bigger upgrade for him than even getting his E6. Oh, but that isn't the only one. Jingliu doesn't even really want her light cone either. Jingliu's light cone is still good, of course. It's a good stat stick, but remember, she scales on HP now, so the max HP buff is more important to her. Plus, the overall damage buff is amazing. And guess who you'd rather pull over her Eidolons for more damage? Only Hoyo would make one of the most powerful characters in the game the one child character. I will be fair and mention that Silver Wolf's buffing situation isn't that bad because she does significantly more ult damage now and has an AoE debuff, and her best light cone tutorial is free. Still, it's funny how her SIG is just a stat stick, but I still can't get over the constant need to pull to keep up with endgame. If you leave for a couple of months and just decide that you want to come back one day, then you're cooked. By the way, did you know that there was 4 stars in this game? Apparently they released one a year ago, but it might just be a rumor, so I'm not exactly sure. This game isn't one that you can just take a break from and come back if you want to beat meaningful content. While even in other Hoyo games, it's not as close to as bad as it is here. And what is with these spending events? Maybe you'll have to let me know, but are the majority of players even free to play anymore? If you are, I'm sure you're forced to comply with the meta, especially if you want to have a significantly better time with clearing in the required amount of cycles. Yeah, I know gacha games are predatory, but the monetization in Star Rail is so obnoxious it's suffocating. Animation creep is perfectly fine, and with the art design in this product, I bet you could just sell strictly off of animation. You could even choose any other character in the game besides Firefly to give a skin to, and you would be able to put up banner numbers with the sales that you could pull off. Dedicated mains of older characters like Kafka would swarm the servers if they got wind of a swimsuit skin for her. There is plenty of ways to monetize a gacha, and Star Rail actively chose the worst way. These devs probably realized they have absolutely no talent to make an engaging event, so they just roll some dice and come up with a random number of pulls for you to throw up so you can just get some mid reward. I don't care which way you spin it, 200 pulls for a light cone is stupid. Announcing the light cone as free, and then we have to find out you have to pull 200 times on the banner to actually get the light cone. That's not free. How can you feel good about this false advertising? I actually would have gotten back onto the game considering how important light cones are, but Hoyo is just so full of shit sometimes. It was a complete turn off seeing the pull requirement. How was I supposed to know I had to get on 3 months before this to sit there and not pull on any of the banners with the most OP characters in the game just to get a light cone that could have easily been given to me as soon as I log into the game, instead of seeing a character I have to pay for. I don't know about you, but Star Rail is the one gacha I can actually feel the game trying to force you to pull the most. Twice now, we've gotten the pull this character or go fuck yourself screen with Casterus, and now Kevin. I don't really see how you can take this game seriously anymore, and I think it's funny that HSR copied the 2 worst things from its sister game, Zenless Zone Zero. If you played ZZZ during 1.4, you remember the first time you logged in, you got the pull this character or go fuck yourself screen with my hobby. Now this isn't the biggest deal in the world, but you have to admit with all of the other tactics they're trying to use to get you to pull, they actually don't care that they're making it obvious. They don't care about older characters at all. Not only that, but in the most recent patch, we got baited by Hoyo. What's new? Instead of just adding the skip button to every cutscene or dialogue, they pulled a ZZZ and made it to where you can only skip the most important parts of the dialogue. You know, the parts that are actually voiced and fairly interesting. They do this on purpose, and I'm not gonna be convinced otherwise at this point. There's so much proof that Hoyo is just a rage bait company, but I'm not exactly sure why, because these things don't exactly make me want to spend money, so maybe they just hate us. If the skip button was implemented properly, the convenience of gameplay would have been enough to at least make the grind for Stellar Jade a little less tedious. But Hoyo does not realize how big of a mistake it was to give us the wrong version of the skip button. Honkai Star Rail was supposed to be a great game, but just like every other Hoyo product, they refuse to take care of it after a year goes by. So I hope you guys are ready to play Honkai Nexus for about the next 365 days until they abandon ship. I would say that the game is actually still pretty fun if you have a deep wallet or you're an extremely lucky free to play, but the events are probably the most boring I've ever played, and the main story is a novel with cutscenes every 10 hours or so. There's always a catch to everything they say they will do, and the power creep makes you feel like they don't even want you to have a favorite character. I still log on to Honkai Star Rail from time to time, but after a couple minutes of playing, I realized that I'm gonna have to grind my life away to beat any endgame content. They'll make a ton of money off the Fate collab though, so I'm not saying HSR is dead or anything, of course, but there's a reason that the popularity of this game has taken a hit over the past couple of months. This game is a mess. But let me know what you think about Honkai Star Rail and if you still play. Thank you all so much for watching this far. If you have a good day. Peace.